Have you ever compared yourself to others? Your friends, your cousins, maybe even strangers, and felt they have everything you wish for, while you're nowhere close? That's a very human feeling. There's nothing wrong with it, unless you let it control you. Because the real question is, what do you do with that feeling? Do you use it to grow or to break yourself? This is the story of Gracie, who found herself in the exact spot. Let's see how she dealt with it. Gracie leaned back on her chair and stretched her arms. She had just finished writing an article today, and the words had come out easily. She felt proud of her work. A small smile appeared on her face. She stood up to take a break, but as usual, her phone was too tempting. She picked it up and scrolled through Instagram. That's when her smile faded. Her friend Shikha had posted photos from a team party. Fancy clothes, laughing faces, bright lights. Shikha even wrote about winning an award at work. Gracie stared at those pictures for a long moment. All those people looked so confident, so happy, living the kind of life she only dreamed of. She looked around her own room, her desk, the four plain walls, the small window that barely lit in sunlight. A wave of dullness washed over her. Just then her phone buzzed. A new email. She opened it. Her client praised the article she had just finished, saying it was amazing and ready to publish. But somehow she didn't feel excited. There was no one to celebrate with. No claps, no parties, no appreciation beyond the email. She sighed, pulling her phone away and stepped out to sit with her mother. Gracie found her mom sitting on the floor, folding some old clothes. Ma, I'm done with work, Gracie said, trying to sound cheerful. Her mother looked up and smiled faintly. That's good. You finished early today. Gracie nodded. Yes, also, I got another article approved. It should go live soon. Her mom didn't react much, just went back to folding clothes. That's nice, she said simply. Gracie swallowed. That was it. No excitement, no praise. Her, her mom then looked up again. By the way, this month maybe you can help us buy a new cupboard. Ours is broken. Gracie forced a smile. Ah, sure, Ma. Every month, most of her salary went to her parents. She didn't mind. She was happy to help. She barely spent on herself anyway. But somewhere deep inside, a tiny ache always lingered. A few days later, some relatives came to visit. Gracie greeted them and made tea, even though she still had work pending. One of the aunts looked around the house. So Gracie still working from home? Must be nice. You have all time in the world. Gracie forced another smile. Yes, I work from home. The aunt nodded knowingly. My daughter just got transferred to a big city. She's handling a big team. Very confident these days. So smart. Gracie's mother nodded, smiling with a hint of pride. Yes, that girl is doing really well. Her mother agreed. Gracie waited, hoping her mom would mention her work too, her writing, something, but she stayed silent. Later, Gracie sat beside her mother, who was scrolling through photos of the relative's daughter on Facebook. Her mother's eyes sparkled. Just look at these girls, Gracie. They are doing amazing things in life. She sighed. Gracie felt a sting in her chest, but she stayed quiet. She quietly went back to her room, sat at her desk, and stared at the walls again. That night, she couldn't sleep. The images of Shikha at her team party, the words of her relatives, her mother's excitement for someone else's daughter, it all played over and over in her mind. Maybe I should try something different, she thought. Maybe a real job, just like them. One where I don't feel so alone. She opened her laptop and searched for openings. Marketing executives, sales assistant, operation intern. Nothing really matched her skills, but she didn't care. I just want something where I meet people, she told herself. I don't want to sit alone in the room anymore. Finally, she applied for an internship in a big company in Bangalore. The job description was vague: drafting emails, helping with paperwork, coordinating small projects. It sounded normal, respectable, like something people wouldn't question. The pay was tiny, but she didn't mind. It would be worth it, she decided, if it gives me a real life. A few days later, she got a reply. We are happy to welcome you as an intern. Please join at the earliest. Gracie stared at the screen. A small part of her was excited, but another part felt heavy. She looked at the stipend again. It was barely anything. Never mind. She tried to reassure herself. I'll figure it out. At that very moment, her cousin messaged her. Can you deliver some documents for me tomorrow? I'm really busy. It didn't even feel like a request, more like an order. Gracie sighed. Okay, I'll do it. The next day, she ran around for her cousin's work, skipping lunch and feeling exhausted by the evening. When she finally came home, she lay on her bed scrolling her phone, only to see her cousin had posted pictures from a cafe with friends, laughing and enjoying the day. Gracie couldn't hold it anymore. She called her cousin immediately. Hey, you told me you were too busy for anything, and I wasted my whole day helping you. And you're out with friends? The cousin snapped back. Oh, come on. Your life is so easy, Gracie. You sit at home most of the time. I have a real job, real stress. Can't you do even that much for me? Gracie felt her heart sink. Her life is easy? She hung up without a word, shut her eyes, and sighed. That night, she clicked on the accept button for the internship. I'm leaving in a week, she whispered to herself. I'm going to change my life. A week later, Gracie packed her bags and left for Bangalore. The city felt huge and alive the moment she stepped off the bus. She took a cab to the paying guest house she had booked online. It was small but neat. There, she met her new roommate, Mira, a graphic designer. Mira greeted her with a friendly smile, then quickly returned to her laptop in the corner of the room, headphones on, lost in her own creative world. Gracie looked around the room. Mira's side had neat little paints, colorful sticky notes, and a poster that read, Do what sets your soul on fire. Gracie smiled awkwardly. Just like my old setup, she thought, a small pinch of homesickness hitting her. She freshened up, sat on her bed, and pulled out her phone to check her bank balance. The travel cost, the PG advance, and food for the next few days had already eaten up almost her whole month's salary. Her chest tightened, but she forced herself to stay positive. It's worth it, she reminded herself. A new beginning. She then opened Instagram and posted a few photos she had clicked from the bus window and on the way. New dreams, new beginnings, she wrote in the caption, adding a sparkly emoji. That night, lying on her narrow bed, she felt a mix of excitement and fear. Tomorrow, the next morning, Gracie stepped into the company's tall glass building. So many people, walking fast, talking on phones, grabbing coffees. Her heart fluttered. This is the life I wanted, she told herself. The HR manager greeted her and walked her through paperwork. Then she showed Gracie to her new desk, a small table in the far corner next to a noisy printer. For now, you'll help draft email and a bit of data entry, the HR said. Gracie nodded quickly, trying to hide her disappointment. No. By lunch, she realized no one had spoken to her except the HR. Everyone seemed too busy with their own work. She watched them laugh and joke with each other, but no one included her. It's the first day, she reassured herself. It will get better. The next few days, Gracie tried to settle in. She did the work quietly, drafting emails, arranging schedules, and learning how things worked. At first, no one really noticed her, but she kept smiling, greeting people, and slowly they started to smile back. One day during lunch break, she gathered the courage to sit with a small group of colleagues. That's where she met Seema. Seema was warm and talkative, always joking, and had a way of making people feel included. Hey, you're the new intern, right? Gracie, isn't it? Gracie nodded. Yeah, that's me. Come on, sit with us, Seema offered, pulling a chair for her. Gracie felt a warm wave of relief. Over the next weeks, Seema became her new close friend at work. They had coffee together, shared jokes, and even took selfies during breaks. Gracie started to feel she belonged. Maybe this was what I needed, she thought. People around me, friends, normal office life. At the PG, she told Mira about work and Seema. Seems like you're settling well, Mira said with a small smile. Yeah, everyone is nice, especially Seema. Mira nodded, then got back to her graphic design project. Gracie noticed how Mira worked in full focus, lost in her own little world. Hey, don't you feel bored just working alone all day? Gracie asked. Mira paused, then shrugged lightly. No, I know what I want, so I don't feel left out. You're really brave, Gracie said, admiring her. Mira smiled. It's not bravery, Gracie. It's just clarity. A month later, Gracie's internship was converted to a full time role. The pay wasn't great, but it made her feel stable. She celebrated with Sima, clicking more photos, eating fancy food, and posting about her promotion online. But by the time she sat on a bed that night, making a budget, her heart sank. After rent, food, travel, and a tiny emergency fund, there was hardly anything left to send home. It's okay, it will get better, she tried to convince herself. A few months later, Gracie was working late on a Friday evening. Sima came over with a greet. Hey, don't stress so much, Sima said. You have already done half the thing's work. Leave the rest to me. I'll finish it. Gracie was grateful. Thanks, Sima. You're a lifesaver. No worries, Sima winked. Go home, get some rest. Relieved, Gracie packed up and left. Monday morning, her manager called her into a meeting. Gracie, about the client's project last week, it was a mess, he said sharply. Gracie froze. What? I finished my part and Sima was going to. Sima told you didn't give her the correct files. That's unacceptable. The manager cut in. Gracie's mind spun. I gave her everything. I trusted her. She tried to explain, but no one listened. Please, be more responsible next time, the manager warned. Gracie felt crushed. At lunch, she tried to talk to Sima. Why did you say I messed up? Sima laughed slightly. Oh, come on. Don't take it so seriously. It's just how things work here. You need to toughen up. Gracie stared at her in shock. Just how things work? That evening, Gracie went back to the PG in haze. Mira noticed her worried face. Rough day? You could say that. Gracie sighed, staring at the wall. Want to talk about it? Mira asked gently. Gracie shook her head. Not right now. Mira didn't push, just passed her a cup of tea. It's okay, Gracie. You'll figure it out, she said quietly. Gracie nodded, but inside she felt a crack. Is this really what I wanted? This rat race? This politics? A few weeks later, Gracie was called along with everyone to the office hall. There was a small gathering. Her manager stepped up with a list in hand. We'd like to recognize the Employee of the Month, he announced. Gracie's name was called. She was surprised, then smiled a little proud. Everyone clapped. They took a group photo, handed her a cheap-looking certificate, and that was it. In less than 10 minutes, everyone went back to their desk as if nothing happened. Gracie stood there for a second, still holding the certificate. Is that it? She thought. No celebration? No excitement? The manager passed by and gave her a polite nod. Keep it up, Gracie. We need people like you. And then he walked away. Gracie let out a small sigh, forcing a smile. Maybe. That evening, she reached the PG and saw Mira packing her things. Hey, what's up? Where are you going? Gracie asked. Himachal. Mira replied with a bright smile. I've been wanting to do a solo trip for months, and all my design projects just got approved. So, reward time. A whole week? Yup. Wow, that's amazing, Gracie said, trying to hide a twinge of envy. By the way, how was work? Mira asked. Oh, I got Employee of the Month, Gracie said quickly. That's awesome. Mira beamed. How are you celebrating? Gracie hesitated. By working more, I guess. She laughed awkwardly. Mira tilted her head. Interesting, she said softly. I'm happy for you, Gracie. Later that night, Gracie uploaded the award picture on Instagram. The photo looked bright and joyful, but she knew deep down it wasn't. The claps had felt empty. The photo too posed, the certificate cheap. Mira celebrated her wins, Gracie thought, but I just keep working. She stared at the screen, a little lost, then shut off her phone and lay down. Sunday night, Gracie sat on her bed, phone in hand, doing the maths all over again. She stared at her bank balance and felt tears sting her eyes. I'm working so hard, but still, I'm stuck in the same place. She tried to fix it. She skipped outings, cut back on coffee. Finally, after 3 months, she saved a decent amount to send home. The night before she planned to transfer it, her phone buzzed. It was Shikha.
Hey, you've been in Bangalore for months and you haven't bothered texting or meeting me? Do you want to get bitten? Let's meet. Excited and nervous, Gracie agreed, and Shika came straight to her PG. When Gracie opened the door, Shika stepped in looking confident and stylish, shiny hair, rounded clothes, and glow on her face. Gracie felt a twist in her stomach. She quickly checked herself in the side mirror. Messy hair, unflattering shirt. She suddenly felt an urge to change her whole wardrobe. They talked for a while and then Gracie quickly ordered food, fancy biryani, special desserts, even some fizzy drinks. She wanted the table to look impressive. Shika looked delighted. Wow, Gracie, this is a treat. Seems like someone is earning really well. Gracie smiled, brushing it off. Yeah, just going with the flow, she laughed, though her heart felt heavy thinking of the bill. From across the room, Mira watched quietly, saying nothing. As Shika was leaving, she flashed a big grin. Hey, I'm going to Andaman and Nicobar next week with friends. Come with us. It will be fun. Gracie hesitated. A whole week? Ah, my company really values us. We get plenty of leaves. Shika boasted proudly. Gracie nodded quickly, not wanting to feel small. Yeah, ours too. I can get a week off. No problem. Count me in. Perfect. See you next week. Shika waved before leaving. As soon as the door closed, Mira spoke up. Are you for real? You just spent so much money on food. Now you're going on a trip that will cost you more than your salary? Gracie stayed silent, staring at the leftover dishes on the table. I'll, s- I'll save next time, she whispered, glancing at the money she had planned to send to her parents. Mira sighed, shaking her head, and went back to her desk without another word. Gracie leaned back on her bed, a nervous ache rising in her chest. After a month of Andaman trip, Shika visited the PG again. Hey, Gracie, Mira, birthday party next weekend. You both have to come. Gracie hesitated, but Shika's excitement was contagious. DJ, drinks, crazy theme, you'll love it, Shika went on. Gracie forced a smile. She agreed, even though her chest felt tight thinking about the money. On the day of the party, Gracie dressed in an expensive gown, hairstyle, makeup perfect. As she waited for the cab, she saw Mira rolling in her brand new mountain bike, wearing a loose tee and short, grinning ear to ear. Wow, you bought a bike? Gracie asked. Yup, Mira said, her face glowing. Isn't she beautiful? It's gorgeous, Gracie agreed. Aren't you coming to the party? Mira shook her head, still admiring her bike. Nope, I'd rather take my baby on a long ride, she laughed. Gracie couldn't help but admire how carefree and happy Mira looked. The party was a fairy tale come alive. Shining gowns, sparkling lights, trays of cocktails, loud music. People posed for reels and photos. They laughed in front of the camera, then fell silent the next second, scrolling on their phones. Gracie tried to fit in, but something felt off. Conversations were about brands, price tags, who spent how much on what. Not being able to take it anymore, she sat in the corner. Shika found her. Hey, princess, why so quiet? Just taking a break, Gracie smiled. Then she asked softly, Shika, you spend so much, travel so much. Don't you ever feel worried about sending money back home? Shika blinked, surprised. Send money home? Are you serious? Why would I do that? I can barely afford my own life. Gracie stared at her, shocked. But your parents? Look, I didn't ask to be born. Why should I sacrifice my life for them? Shika shrugged. Gracie was stunned. The friend she had admired so much suddenly felt so small and selfish. She made an excuse to leave early, took a cab home, and sat scrolling through the photos Shika had already posted online. They looked perfect, but they weren't. Gracie thought, and for the first time she felt it deep in her heart. The next morning, Gracie woke up to the phone ringing. It was her mother. Gracie, do you mind sending some money soon? Your father's not well. We need it for tests and medicines. Gracie's stomach sank. Ma, I don't have it right now, she said softly. There was a pause on the line. Oh, okay, her mother said quietly, trying to sound normal. Gracie hung up and stared at the ceiling, guilt washing over her. How did I get here? I worked so hard, and I can't even help them when they need me. That day at work, Gracie could barely focus. She felt sick with worry, but she couldn't ask for leave, not after the Andaman trip leave she had taken on a lie. She tried to ask a teammate for help finishing a few emails. Sorry, busy with my own work, came the cold reply. No one looked up. No one cared. By evening, she was pale, exhausted, and on the verge of tears. Back at the PG, she dropped onto her bed. Mira noticed immediately. Gracie, you don't look good. Are you okay? Gracie tried to wave it off, but her voice broke. I'm just tired. No one at work cared that I was sick. No one helped. I feel invisible. Mira sat beside her, handing her water. You need to rest. Don't go back tomorrow. Just breathe for now. Gracie stared at her office bag and shook her head. I don't have a choice, Mira. If, if I don't work, I'll fall behind. People will think I'm weak. Mira sighed. Gracie, that's not true. You do have a choice. You're just too scared to not take it. Gracie didn't answer. Finally, through tears, she shared everything. The pressure to send home money, to be valued, to look successful. Mira listened quietly, then spoke gently. Gracie, your problem isn't your job. It's that you let everyone else set the rules for your life. You try so hard to please. You don't leave space for yourself. Gracie blinked at her, the truth sinking in. Look, Mira continued. You can work, help your family, travel, grow, but only if you take control. Not for Instagram, not for others, for you. Gracie wiped her eyes, something inside her finally shifting. That night, she opened her laptop and quietly started drafting a resignation letter. A week later, Gracie handed it to the manager, who was surprised. He even tried to convince her to stay, but Gracie stood firm. I need to follow my own path, she said calmly. That evening, she felt lighter than she had in months. Back at the PG, she told Mira about her plan. I'll go back to writing, Gracie said with a spark in her eyes. But this time, I'll do it differently. I'll work for myself, set my own schedule, travel a little, and send money home when you decide, Mira added with a grin. Exactly. They both laughed. A few weeks later, Gracie was working on a new article from a small cafe near a park. She had rented a tiny place for herself, with sunlight pouring in through wide windows. She took breaks to walk in the park, talk to strangers, and even plan a short trip with Mira. Every now and then, she sent money to her parents, enough to make a difference, but without emptying herself. She still posted on social media, but with real stories, not just pretty pictures. One afternoon, Gracie paused and looked around. The warmth of the cafe, the happy chatters of people, the fresh air outside. Maybe this is what I wanted all along, she thought. A life that's mine, built on my own rules. She took a deep breath, a small peaceful smile on her face, and went back to her writing.